Have you ever felt something shift in you before anything around you changed? Like a quiet knowing that your life was about to move, even though nothing made sense yet? If you feel that now, it's not your imagination. It's not random. You didn't come across this message by accident. What's beginning in this very moment is more than just a message, more than a video, more than sound. It's a frequency, a vibrational code, a sacred activation. And if something stirred in you the moment this began, it means your energy has already started responding. Most people spend their whole lives trying to fix what's outside, pushing, forcing, improving, changing things around them, without realizing the real shift happens inside. Thoth, the ancient keeper of hidden wisdom, knew this secret long before modern science even touched it. You don't change your life by effort. You change it by energy, not by doing more, but by vibrating differently. And not just in quick moments, but in a consistent, stable, anchored frequency, one strong enough to dissolve blocks and attract alignment without effort. This isn't an ordinary audiobook. It's not here to entertain you or repeat spiritual ideas you've already heard. It's here to trigger something deeper, to reach the hidden places you didn't know were holding you back, to awaken a vibration in you that has been asleep for years, maybe lifetimes. That's why most people don't make it to the end. Not because it's hard to listen to, but because it requires something rare: courage, presence, willingness to let the false layers fall. But for those who stay, something unforgettable begins. Not a moment, a shift, a new internal reality. So take a deep breath. Let the air move through your body. Because right now, something sacred is moving within you. The same vibrational code Thoth once encoded between sound and silence is beginning to stir. And if you walk away now, you'll miss the exact moment where your inner frequency begins to reorganize, and the world around you starts to respond in a new way. What's happening here isn't about learning more. It's not about collecting spiritual quotes or stacking new knowledge in your mind. It's about transmission. It's about awakening. What's being activated now is an ancient energetic code, passed down through silence, meant to be remembered only when your soul was ready. If you're still listening, you already are. Maybe you've been feeling like something doesn't fit anymore. Like the same places, the same people, the same routine are suddenly lifeless. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not confused. You're being called. That discomfort isn't failure. It's the signal that your soul is rising above the old frequency. And when that shift begins, everything that was once tolerable starts to feel tight, small, out of place. That's not depression. That's expansion. This message doesn't come with formulas or easy promises. What it offers is far more powerful. A mirror, a vibration, a sacred reflection that shows you exactly where you are vibrating and why the life you want hasn't fully matched your vision yet. Because it's not about what you wish for. It's about what you're constantly, quietly vibrating, even when you say nothing. That's what the universe listens to. Not your words, but your field. Ancient initiates knew this, that energy creates reality, that vibration comes before matter. Thoth didn't teach with explanations. He encoded wisdom into geometry, patterns, proportions, and soundless frequencies. He understood that if you align your inner field, the outer world realigns automatically. That's what this audio is built on. It's not spiritual theory. It's vibrational law. The world is filled with people trying to manifest results by repeating words, chasing goals, or staying busy. But those who awaken discover a quieter, more powerful truth. Real change doesn't require struggle. It requires stability. When your vibration becomes clear, when your thoughts, feelings, body, and breath move together in harmony, something clicks. A hidden gear turns, not just in you, but in the entire field around you. That's why some people shift a room just by walking into it. They don't speak loudly. They don't perform. They simply are. That's energetic alignment. That's stabilized vibration. And it's not magic. It's mastery. But to hold that kind of presence, you'll need to drop the masks. You'll need to stop pretending. Most people are scared of that level of honesty because it's easier to look strong than to be seen in your process. But the truth is, pretending doesn't raise your vibration. It fragments it. And every time you deny what you're truly feeling, you weaken the field that's trying to heal you. Real light isn't the absence of darkness. It's the ability to move through the darkness without pretending it's not there. That's what Thoth taught. That's what was lost in modern spirituality. You were told to always be positive, to smile, to be grateful, to keep your vibe high, even when you were falling apart inside. But that constant performance created a hidden wound, spiritual guilt, the shame of not always feeling good, the silent belief that you were failing every time you felt human. And so you began covering your sadness with affirmations, hiding your anger behind soft words, smiling through exhaustion. And while you were doing everything right, your energy was quietly collapsing, not because of your pain, but because you were afraid to let it speak. The truth is, the universe doesn't respond to what you pretend to feel. It responds to what you're really vibrating. And when you try to fake being okay, your field becomes filled with noise. That noise distorts the signal. That distortion keeps you stuck. Because underneath the performance, your energy is saying something different. In ancient temples, pain was honored, not avoided. In Egypt, Tibet, and sacred mystical schools, suffering was seen as a sacred doorway, a purifier, a teacher, never something to run from. But today, you've been taught to suppress, to perform, to spiritual bypass your emotions. And that bypass blocks everything. Because the light you try to force is weaker than the shadow you refuse to face. You don't need to raise your vibration by force. You need to meet your vibration with truth. If you're tired, rest. If you're sad, cry. If you're afraid, breathe with it. Sit with it. Let it be seen. Because what you feel doesn't lower your vibration, what you suppress does. This is what Thoth called false shine. It looks like light. It talks like light. But it's built on effort, not essence. And he warned that false shine is darker than darkness itself, because at least darkness invites you to open your eyes. False shine tells you to keep them closed. It tells you to smile when you're breaking, and that illusion will keep you blind until you decide to stop pretending. Real vibration is born in truth, and coherence begins when you stop betraying your own experience. That's when energy starts to rise. That's when light returns, not as a show, but as a quiet, steady presence. That's when the field reorganizes and reality begins to shift, not because you forced it, but because you stopped fighting what was already trying to heal. People often try to change their lives by changing their surroundings. They move to a new city, start a new job, or enter a new relationship, hoping for a fresh start. But over time, they find themselves repeating the same patterns, running into the same kinds of problems, and they wonder why things aren't truly changing. The reason is simple. The energy they're sending out hasn't changed. The signal is still the same. You can repaint the walls, buy new furniture, and change everything on the outside. But if your inner energy is still running on the same frequency, life will keep reflecting that. Reality keeps reorganizing itself based on what you're broadcasting within. You can't trick it with outer changes. The true shift has to happen in your energy field. This is something Thoth understood deeply. He taught that your field, your energetic presence, is the true authority in your life. Before trying to change the world or fix your situation, you must first become aware of the frequency you're putting out into the world. Everything begins there. Even when you don't mean to, even when you're not paying attention, you are always vibrating. And that vibration is shaping everything around you. It's not just a passive result of how you feel. It's a powerful, living language. It communicates what you truly feel, what you deeply believe, and what you subconsciously repeat over and over again. Your vibration is your signature, and that signature speaks louder than any words. But here's the beautiful truth. Your signal can be changed. You don't need to force it or control it. You just need to start observing. Real change begins when you stop identifying with the noise in your head and start noticing the energy you're giving off. When you begin to feel the field around you as something real, alive, and responsive, a shift starts to happen. That's when mastery begins. And by mastery, we don't mean suppressing emotions or controlling everything. It means becoming deeply aware of what's moving through you, noticing what you're vibrating, feeling what you're transmitting, and then choosing what you want to keep vibrating from a place of calm, clear awareness. This is where Thoth's teachings become practical. He didn't teach people to use thoughts to manipulate reality. He showed people how to reach a point of stillness within themselves where their energy becomes steady, where the field stops reacting and begins to create. When you arrive at this point, you stop repeating the old, borrowed frequencies that were passed down to you. You stop recycling the emotional energy of your past or your environment. And instead, you begin to send out a frequency that comes from your true self. But to get to that place, you have to face something that many people avoid. You have to face the part of your frequency that's been vibrating without your awareness. The part that was programmed into you over time. The part that feels so normal, you've stopped questioning it. But it's not really you. It's the busy, fragmented, constantly moving pattern of thought. It's the inner noise that has been running in the background for so long that it became invisible. And yet it's this noise that's been scrambling your vibration. This mental noise is what keeps your energy scattered. It creates confusion in the field. It sends mixed signals out into the world. You may say you want peace, but if your mind is constantly busy, your vibration is not aligned with peace. You may desire love or healing or clarity, but if your thoughts are racing, your field can't hold those higher frequencies. Many people try to meditate, repeat affirmations, or use spiritual tools to fix this. But while their minds are still running in the background, none of those things can hold. The field may adjust for a few minutes, but it collapses again because the vibration isn't steady. Energy gets pushed in different directions, and nothing sticks. Thoth understood something most modern seekers overlook. True silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's the absence of inner fragmentation. It's the moment your mind stops trying to control everything and begins to observe. Imagine your mind like a river. When it's calm, it reflects everything clearly. When it's agitated, it becomes cloudy, messy, and hard to see through. That's what happens when someone overthinks without awareness. Their vibration becomes unclear, scattered, and unstable. This state has become so common in today's world that we think it's normal. But it's the first obstacle to any real vibrational shift. Until you learn to quiet this mental overload, your energy field can't fully realign. You don't have to stop thinking completely. That's not the goal. The goal is to watch your thoughts without believing every single one. To let the mind do what it does. Create images, bring up memories, replay conversations, without getting pulled into every one of those stories. You don't have to enter every scene your mind creates. You can simply watch them come and go like clouds passing across the sky. When you stop reacting to every thought, your vibration starts to settle. The field begins to organize itself. Energy returns to the center. And that's where transformation begins. Not by force, but through awareness. But it's hard to find that still center when your mind is constantly racing. That's why you need a practice. Something simple that helps slow down the noise and bring you back to the present. Thoth taught a sacred technique for this. It was designed to interrupt the chaotic mental flow and make space for the vibration to settle in peace. This is where emotional mastery begins to take root. Everyone has had moments of deep peace or love, those rare seconds where everything feels right, where time seems to pause, and you feel fully connected. It might happen in nature, in meditation, or in a random moment of stillness. But those moments often slip away quickly. Someone triggers you, fear returns, anxiety kicks in, and that feeling vanishes. Most people chase those feelings like temporary highs. They listen to music, breathe deeply, do a ritual, feel good for a moment, and then fall right back into stress. That's because we were taught to see emotions as reactions, something that comes and goes, depending on what's happening outside us. But the ancient wisdom tells us something different. Emotion is not just a reaction. It's vibration in motion. And if you learn to hold that vibration long enough, it becomes part of who you are. Love, gratitude, peace. These are not just feelings. They're frequencies. And each one carries a unique code that shapes your energy field. These emotional frequencies have form. They carry a structure. They literally change the space around you. But this only happens when the feeling is consistent. You can't feel gratitude for 5 minutes and then spend the rest of the day complaining. You can't feel love in meditation and then go back to vibrating fear in your daily life. The field doesn't respond to temporary highs. It responds to the pattern you hold. That's why this path requires practice, not pretending, not forcing, just becoming so present that you don't fall back into the same old emotional habits. It's easy to feel peaceful when things go your way. It's much harder to hold that peace when you're being criticized, when things aren't working, when nothing makes sense. But that's exactly where your frequency becomes your identity. When you stay in a high emotional state, even when things around you fall apart, you are sending a powerful signal to the field. This is who I am now, and the field believes you. It doesn't analyze or judge. It simply responds. Vibration is a language, and the emotions you hold are the message. Many people stay in the loop of reacting to everything. If something good happens, they feel good. If something bad happens, they feel bad. That's the unconscious cycle. But true power comes when you stop reacting and start choosing. When you decide how you want to feel, no matter what's happening around you. That's when you stop being programmed and start becoming the programmer. Emotional stability isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about recognizing that your feelings are energetic commands. Love isn't just romance. It's a stabilizing force. Gratitude isn't just a thank you. It's an alignment with value. Peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the choice to remain centered even when the world shakes. Thoth taught that the emotion you can hold becomes your energetic identity. That identity is what the field responds to. Because everything is vibrating. Everything that vibrates responds. When you learn to hold your frequency with honesty and presence, without hardening, without isolating, you shift. When you can ride the waves of life and still stay rooted in love, peace, or quiet gratitude, something unlocks. You begin to feel connected to everything. You're no longer separate. You're part of a natural flow. And this flow doesn't require force. It continues effortlessly because you're no longer stepping out of your own vibration. But there's one final truth. The only place where this kind of emotional power can fully live is in the present moment. Not in the past. Not in the future. Right here. Right now. You've been trained to think time is a straight line. That there's a before, a now, and a later. That the past shaped you and the future holds your destiny. But this idea of time is one of the greatest traps. Because while you're split between what's already gone and what hasn't yet arrived, your energy becomes scattered. Your field weakens. Your vibration loses power. Most people are not fully present. Their bodies are here, but their minds are somewhere else, lost in memories or stuck in worry. And that creates an energy failure. It drains the one place where life is actually happening. The now. The present moment is not just a point on the clock. It's a sacred vibrational space, and it can only be accessed through stillness. Only when you quiet the past and release the future can you step into this portal where your energy becomes clean, full, and free. In this space, your vibration is untouched by regrets, trauma, anxiety, or expectation. It's whole, it's real, it's alive. But almost no one stays there for long, because we've been taught that being present means doing nothing. But presence isn't inaction. It's focused awareness. It's feeling fully. It's seeing clearly. It's doing whatever you do, but with your full energy behind it. And when you enter this state, something remarkable happens. Your mind softens. Your body relaxes. Your heart rhythm smooths out. Your energy rises without effort, without needing anything, because the now is the only place where creation truly happens. This is what the ancients knew. It's how spontaneous healing happened, how wisdom appeared from nowhere, how someone could look at a glass of water and change its structure, not through magic, but through anchored presence. They weren't special. They were simply present, so present that their vibration became pure, and their intention shaped reality directly. That purity only exists in the present. It can't be learned through theory. It has to be felt, lived, breathed. The now isn't a goal. It's a return. It's where your scattered energy comes home, where your field aligns, where reality finally begins to respond to the truth you carry. And when you get there, life sharpens. Everything feels vivid. The colors are brighter. Sounds are deeper. Sensations are sharper. And you finally realize you're awake. You've begun to notice the subtle energies that used to pass you by, not because the world changed, but because you returned to your center. And in that return, something sacred began. In the stillness of your center, your frequency started to purify itself, not through force, not through complicated rituals. It revealed itself, naturally, effortlessly, because when the mind stops escaping the present moment, the present becomes powerful. It becomes the place where energy restructures, where the invisible begins to rebuild. True healing doesn't happen in the past or the future. It happens now. Authentic manifestation doesn't begin with desire. It begins with presence. Real elevation doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from being fully here. In this presence, there is a hidden vibrational key, something the ancient ones knew, something they rarely spoke of, because not everyone is ready to see what truly holds this sacred state in place. You can speak all the right words. You can repeat every affirmation. You can sit in meditation for hours. But if your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions aren't vibrating in the same direction, the field will not respond. That's the invisible error so many make. It's not loud. It's not obvious, but it fragments your power. You say you want peace, but you keep feeding silent arguments in your mind. You say you trust divine timing, but your choices come from fear. You say you want abundance, but deep down you vibrate with lack. And then you wonder why nothing is changing. But the field isn't listening to what you say on the surface. It's responding to what your whole being is broadcasting. Alignment isn't something you do. It's something you become. There comes a point when your body, mind, and soul stop operating as separate parts and begin to harmonize as one single frequency. When what you think, what you feel, and what you do finally agree, the field recognizes you as congruent. And that's when it begins to move in your favor. That's when your vibration stabilizes. That's when you stop wishing and start embodying. That's the moment true magnetism is born. Most people live in fragments. Their thoughts go one way, their emotions another, and their actions a third. It's not because they're doing something wrong. It's because they've been disconnected. But that disconnection creates energetic interference. It scrambles the signal. It's like trying to listen to one radio station while three others play in the background. The sound doesn't come through. The frequency doesn't stabilize. Reality then hesitates because your energy is hesitating. But when you become energetically coherent, your vibration amplifies. It stops scattering and begins shaping the reality around you. This is the silent doorway most people never cross. They try to change the outer world with effort, with strategy, with repetition. But the field only answers to one thing: deep, stable, honest vibration. And living in that vibration doesn't mean being perfect. It means being real. It means letting your actions speak the same language as your spirit. It means choosing to act in a way that matches the energy you want to live in. Once you reach this level of internal harmony, even words lose their importance. The field already knows, because you've become the affirmation. You've become the command. You are no longer trying to send the signal. You are the signal. And that's when life stops resisting. But as you begin to live in this new level of alignment, something begins to stir. At first, it feels like a breakthrough. You feel lighter. Synchronicities multiply. Your intuition sharpens. Everything feels balanced. But just when you think you've made it, something old returns. People you thought you'd outgrown resurface. Emotions you believed you healed rise again. Patterns you swore you ended begin to reappear. It seems like everything is falling apart again. But it's not a setback. It's a sacred test. It's the moment the field begins to test the strength of your new frequency. Thoth described this as the invisible trial. The moment when the light you now carry begins to push out all remaining shadows. Not by suppressing them, but by exposing them. This is not failure. It's purification. When your new vibration starts to root itself into your being, everything that doesn't match it is forced up and out. Old parts of you resist. Old patterns beg to return. Not because you're going backwards, but because your body and energy are purging what's no longer allowed to stay. It's like stirring the bottom of a glass full of settled dirt. The moment you do, the sediment rises before the water clears. But that moment of rising is when most people turn back. They think they've fallen, that their frequency is broken. But in truth, they were one breath away from their breakthrough. Those who keep holding their frequency through the discomfort reach a state almost no one finds. The state where your vibration no longer relies on outer circumstances. You begin to radiate a presence that doesn't move with the world. It moves the world. And when the field sees this, it stops testing. It begins obeying. But this sacred shift only becomes permanent when you continue to hold your new energy, even when nothing around you makes sense. When you choose peace in the middle of chaos. When you hold love while standing in pain. When you stay true to your alignment, even when no reward is visible. That is the true gateway. That is the real initiation. Because everything outside of you is just the mirror. The real work is always internal. The question is, will you hold your vibration when the world tries to pull you back into the old? And then something else happens. A deeper stillness arrives. Doubts no longer bite. Emotional storms lose their force. The effort disappears because the practice has become your second skin. You're no longer thinking about how to stay aligned. You simply are. The field doesn't move unpredictably anymore. There's no more conflict between what you want and what you are. And in this new state, you stop reaching for elevation. You are elevation. You stop trying to attract anything. You simply resonate. Life responds. People feel it. Events bend around it. This is not a performance. It's your frequency embodied. The rituals fade. The methods fall away. What once was external has now been absorbed. This is the point Thoth spoke of when he said that true vibration cannot be taught. It can only be lived. But right here, when everything seems still, a final wave comes. Not from the outside, from within. That old self, the one who survived through control, fear, comparison, panic, suddenly starts to tremble. Not loudly, but subtly. A strange sadness may appear, a sense of longing for something you no longer desire. Doubt whispers, maybe I made this all up. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this will never work. But deep down you already know it's not the truth. These thoughts are not signs of regression. They're the final cries of an identity that's dissolving. It's collapsing because it knows it no longer has power over you. This collapse is sacred. It is the last tremor before rebirth. It's the part where you must not fight, not run. Just hold your center. Let go of what was never really you. Let the weight fall. Let the mask drop. This is where your soul breathes without armor. This is when you begin to live from the frequency that was always buried beneath layers of survival. The collapse may feel strange, but it is your rebirth. And those who walk through this void with open hearts never return to who they used to be. Even after all this growth, subtle energy leaks can still happen. They're not big or obvious. They're tiny. A quick judgment, a habitual reaction, a careless word. These little micro leaks don't shatter your vibration, but they slowly drain your power. They hide in good intentions, in unconscious habits, in automatic behavior, and they keep your field from reaching its highest clarity. Thoth knew this, which is why he left behind a practice with no name, no chance, no steps, just presence. He called it the return to the original frequency. It's not a ritual. It's a refinement. It's where you develop the inner eye, the one that catches misalignments before they cause collapse. You begin seeing each thought before it becomes noise. Every choice becomes sacred. You begin tuning yourself like a finely crafted instrument, moving from good sound to flawless harmony. And when you reach this point, you don't just hold the field. You become the field. Constant, pure, whole. And there is one key that strengthens this clarity more than anything else. Your breath. Breath is the invisible bridge between the body and spirit, between the seen and the unseen, between thought and silence. You've been breathing your entire life, but likely without noticing. And Thoth said this is why many live without true mastery, because breath carries vibration. It is the sound of the soul. Used wisely, it doesn't just calm you, it creates you. It shapes the field. It aligns everything within. His method wasn't complicated. It didn't require fancy postures. It required rhythm, stillness, attention. He saw the breath as the beat of a sacred drum, one that could cleanse, invoke, and stabilize your entire energy field. When used with awareness, breath doesn't just restore peace. It activates your power. It seals energy leaks. It harmonizes your mind. It awakens your soul. You begin to pulse with the universe. You fall into rhythm with the all. You stop just surviving. You start creating. And now, you've arrived at the point where the so-called forbidden technique finally reveals itself, not as a trick, not as a method, but as a way of being. This was never about a spell, never about a scroll. The ancient secret wasn't written. It was remembered. It reveals itself only when your whole being becomes coherent, when you stop chasing alignment and start living it. The technique was never external. It's who you are when every part of you becomes one note, one frequency, one truth. No more noise, no more division, just a deep, pure presence that radiates without effort. Thoth said, "True mastery begins when silence becomes presence." That's when you stop managing your vibration. You are the vibration. The field doesn't shift because of what you say. It shifts because of who you've become. You no longer need reminders. You no longer look for signs. You are the sign. You are the rhythm. You are the transmitter. And the world begins to respond. Naturally, effortlessly, with grace. Synchronicities don't surprise you anymore. They confirm you. Relationships evolve. Obstacles melt. Resistance fades. Not because you push, but because what doesn't match your energy simply falls away. What does match finds you. This is the moment where the invisible leads, where silence speaks, where desire fades, because you are whole. You are no longer chasing alignment. You are the anchor. You are the vibration. You are the voice. And from this moment on, everything you touch will carry your frequency. Your presence becomes the blessing, and your soul, having remembered who it truly is, can never be erased again.